Okay, so today we are talking about graphing lines and writing equations of lines. And this really should be a review for everybody. You did this in algebra last year. So let's move on. We are starting with our vocabulary. Everybody knows what slope is. That's counting rise over run, or is the difference between the y-axis and the difference between the x-axis. Everybody knows slope-intercept form of an equation, and this is slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. The standard form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. Point-slope form, that's this form right here. You'll see it when we start working on the algebra. And finally, a horizontal line is the y equation of the line, and the slope is 0. A vertical line is undefined. That's the x equation of the line. That means like y equals 7. That's going to be a horizontal line because there's no slope. X equals 3, that means it's going to be undefined. It's a vertical line. One way to remember this is that slope is like a slide. Okay, so we got this little guy on the slide. And then he's going down the slide. That's all kinds of fun, right? That's a y equals mx plus b. But then when we have a y equals, I don't know, 1, that kind of a line, that's going to be 0 slope. So that means 0 slope. This is a 0 fun slide. This is not very much fun. When we have an x equals slope, that's going to be a vertical line, and that's the death slide. Mrs. Jordan always uses this. It's the death slide because there's x's for the eyes. This slide is like, woo! You're falling to your death. Okay? Hopefully that clears it up a little bit. I'm sure she'll talk about it in class tomorrow. All right. We are looking then at putting this equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we have this equation here. We need to put it in slope-intercept form. That means we need to make it into the y equals mx plus b form. And then we have to graph it. Okay, so if I look at this equation, I'm going to try and get the x over on the right-hand side of the equation. So I'm going to add 10x to both sides of the equation. So I end up with 8y equals 10x plus 40. Well, holy cow, that's not going to even fit on my graph here because I'm looking at 8y. That's going to be way above the graph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 8 to simplify this. So I get y alone. Y equals 10/8 x plus 5. Okay, that makes more sense. But what about this 10/8? I can reduce this number. This number has to be reduced in order to make it doable on the graph. So that's going to be 5/4 x plus 5. So the slope is 5/4. The y-intercept is 5. So the first thing that we're going to do when we graph this line is we're going to find the y-intercept. We're going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the y-intercept. There's the y-intercept. So the next thing I have to do is do the slope. Well, we know that I can't go up because there's no more graph there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count down 5 and left 4. So down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to graph. That's our line. Okay, so number 2 says, write an equation of the line with slope of -1 that contains point P, which is at 2, -4. Okay, that looks really confusing, but if you look up at the top of your note sheet where it says number 4, the point slope form, that's the formula that we're going to be using to figure out the equation for this line. So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. Okay, so I know what this is going to be, my x1, y1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug everything in. Here's the slope. That's going to go where the m is. Okay, so y minus y1 is a -4 equals the slope. That's m. I don't know why it's m, but that's just the way it is. X minus 2. Okay. Oh, now this is pretty easy. I'm going to combine. We're going to simplify here. Y plus 4 equals -x, and -1 times -2 is going to be a +2. Now I'm just going to get this y alone, so I'm going to take 4 away from this side and 4 away from this side. So y equals -x minus 2. That is the equation for this line. You can have a little 1 in here if that helps you. It's a -1x, but you don't have to have that. Now we have to write an equation for the line with a slope of 1/2 that contains point V at 6, 1. Okay, the same thing goes here. We're going to use the point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. Remember, this is x1, y1. All right. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to go, okay, well, just plug it in. Y minus y1 is 1 equals m. Whoops. M is what? M is 1/2. 1/2 times x minus 6. Okay. So I have to distribute here. So I get y minus 1 equals 1/2 x. Okay, so in 1/2 times -6 is going to be a -3. Half of 6 is 3. Okay, now I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Y equals 1/2 x minus 2. There is your slope. I mean your line. Now I've got 2 points. So I have to figure out the slope using the using the formula from the front page. So I'm going to find the slope, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the slope. Okay, so x1, y1, x2, y2. All right. This is a little more because we have to find the slope first, and then we can find the equation. So first I'm going to look at how I'm going to find the slope. Well, x2 is -3. x1 is 0. I mean, y1 and y2. x2 is 7. x1 is 5. Okay, so we've got -3 over 2. So this is a negative slope, but that's going to be the slope that you put into the point slope formula. Point slope formula, y minus y1 equals times x minus x1. All right. So this is the second part of this problem. We're wanting to find the equation. So, all right, y minus y1, y minus 0. Okay, we found the slope. It's over here. -3/2 times x minus x1, which is 5. Okay, so y minus 0 is y equals -3/2 x. And you're looking at this, you're going, oh my gosh, how do I figure this out? Okay, so I have a negative number. That's going to be 5 over 1, so that's a -15 over 2. So now when we simplify this, we have y equals -3/2 x plus 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. That is going to be your equation for your line. All right, number 5. This is doing the same thing that we just did above that. So we are going to we're going to find out what slope is by taking y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right. x1, y1, x2, y2. Got it? M equals x y2, which is 3, minus y1, which is 6, x2, which is -1, x1 is 2. Alrighty. So the slope turns out to be, this is a -3. -1 minus 2 is a -3. So when we simplify this, we get a +1. So the slope is 1. Then we're going to put it in the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x. All right. So let's plug her all in. y1 is 6. The slope is 1. x1 is 2. All right. So we distribute. Y minus 6 equals x minus 2. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Y equals x. Remember, there's the invisible 1 right here. And it's going to be +4. There's the equation for that line. Okay, now we have to graph the given lines. Okay, Here's that x equals 5. That means the line crosses X, but there is no y-intercept, so that means it just is a vertical line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at 5. So then the line is going to go straight like that. That's x equals 5. That is an undefined line, or the death slide, because it's an x. Okay, so now y is at a -1, so y goes right here, and we have another line that goes through at -1. And that's got 0 slope. That's a horizontal line. Remember that, no fun, 0 fun. So write the equation for the graph lines. All right, well, if we look at the blue line, that is a horizontal line, so it's only got a y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's y equals 4. This line, again, that one's the death slide, so that's an x line at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. So x equals -5. Right? So hopefully you get this, and we will talk about it in class the next time we see you. Have a great night. Bye.